I want to smile, I want to be happy. So here's Bernard King. I've got one just like that.
Oh, you don't! The girl's just finished the hem.
You look absolutely wonderful, Bernard. Different, but wonderful.
Was all I had.
Do you love Samantha Sang?
Oh, I love a woman who can blister paint.
Pardon?
Get those notes out and you can feel the paint crackling on the back wall.
Yes. What do you
redecorated half of... Oh, a woman who sells a song as well as that doesn't even need to be scored.
But you see, where she comes from with her father, Reg Gray, and her mother, Joan Clark, I mean, she'd have to have talent. Is Joan here?
She's here.
Why didn't she come round? No one tells me anything.
Wave and smile.
Good on you. Well, I must see her afterwards. Bernard, talking about giving scores and things, back on the old pot of gold.
Yes, sir.
Were we to take you seriously?
Deadly seriously.
Yes, I thought so. That was the real... You really meant every nuance, did you?
I was very much the serious one, but as the critic there, I tried to offer some helpful advice too. I wasn't just performing as a satirist, taking the mickey out of everybody. Those who had promise, I liked to take the opportunity of suggesting how to develop further. Let me quote you one example of the difference you can make to people. There was a woman appeared, and I even remember her name, it was Zelda, and she was already a mature woman singing Marlene Dietrich impressions. Falling in love again, always want to do...
Now do it like Marlena.
And I had to say to her, I don't think the world is ready for an older than Marlena, who does only Marlena impressions.
I can just hear you say it, Bernard.
But I pointed out, I said, you're a very good-looking woman, and grey-haired people are in
like
demand.
George Burns.
Yes. I said, the mature people are in demand as extras in the movie area. Yeah. She has made nothing less than $26,000 a year since, being a mother in the background, in a rocking chair. She even played in television commercials. She was in The Man from Snowy River, 6 weeks on the location filming.
That's terrific, isn't it? Does she ever write back to you and thank you?
Oh, indeed, yes.
You're her agent, of course, aren't you?
No, I didn't ever do any of that. But it's delightful to know that you touch somebody with pleasure and with joy and provided them with another attitude. She might have been a party piece woman all her life. Sure. Oh, God, here she comes again. Here she goes. She does Marlene Dietrich impressions.
So it wasn't all bad news for them?
Some good news for a lot of people. Karen O'Neill, a gorgeous young Australian talented woman, has now taken my final piece of advice and married an extreme amount of money. And I'm...
That was the ultimate advice, wasn't it?
Always marry money.
For those,
and frequently.
For those artists watching the show today who went through the period of Pot of Gold with Bernard King, and they wanted to get something back at Bernard, perhaps I have it here. Here is a younger Bernard King I would like you to see. Would you have a look at that? Also, too, I might mention to you, he's a man of very simple tastes. This is Bernard in his back garden. Would you mind?
Oh, that's a different story.
Yes. Oh, actually, that was longer, wasn't it? That was a much wider shot when I originally saw it because it showed the... I mean, how big is your backyard?
It's half a mountainside, and
Is it really?
Yes, it cascades down the mountain, and it's a perilous job maintaining it, but that's my dedication. I might love my business and the word show, but a garden is real show, isn't it?
Right. You've just had a good friend of yours in town, so to make Don Lane ill if he's watching, tell us all about Sammy Davis Jr.
Oh, he's such a party man. He tries to tell everybody that he's not doing any of that anymore. I think he stops at about 9:30 in the morning until about 2 in the afternoon, then he starts again.
Where was that taken, Bernard?
That was...
You were underdressed that night?
Yes, that's all I had to do. That was in one of my homes. I forget which home that was.
That's you on the right, of course, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Sammy didn't have a hat.
So tell us about Sammy. What sort of a man is he?
Oh, he's just the most wonderful, mad, marvellous party man. He adores the trivia of our business. Trivial pursuits are his favourite thing, and he challenges you. Who was the fourth support in this film? The stars were, he'll remind you of the story, and you sit there thinking, oh, God, did I ever see the film? You know, but those challenges he loves, but he's dedicated to the business, and he's absolutely fascinated with Australia. He has come to know a lot of Australians. Jack Thompson is one of his favourite people because Jack is so identifiably, genuinely solid Australian. And even at dinner the other night, Jack had some a folio album of pictures of things that he's doing. And Sammy sat and studied all this, totally interested in it.
He's always good fun to be with, actually, Jack Thompson, isn't he? Because,
Yes.
I mean, he's always got a spare partner there.
Yes, well, it takes two to make one sometimes.
Exactly.
Some of them have been so drab, the poor man. God, he dragged two females to a party of mine one night, and I said, oh, God, who are those poor decadent creatures in the background? He said, they're my current wives. I said, I know why you need two.
That's lovely. Bernard, what about your history in show business? A lot of people don't realise just how big you were in Queensland before you went national. You did a lot of theatre and a lot of television
Yes,
there.
theatre has always been the first dedication, and theatre is difficult to promote to people because it's such a small audience all the way, building to large audience, but small television gives you that marvellous panoramic scope. But I have done lots and lots of theatre. In those sincere early days, I decided I wanted to be a Shakespearean actor. Of course, every Australian did. I wanted to understudy Sir John Gielgud and everything, and I was going to specialise in clowns, in Shakespeare. And you can hear me now rehearsing in the bush, can't you? To me, fair friend, thou shalt never be old, for I'm not die. When first thy eye I eyed, thus seemst thou still.
If you've just tuned in, I think Bernard's in love with me.
Could be that.
Bernard, before you go, what about a song, Roy? Because there's a marvellous album which you put out a couple of years ago, which I used to give a lot of airplay to on radio.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if you'd like to join our ensemble.
My marvellous party number, which is a rewrite of Noel Coward's famous number, I've rewritten yet again for the new show that I'm staging, called In the Pink at the Parramatta Riverside Theatre.
This is the invitation, by the way.
Oh, yes.
Just have a look at the invitation that Bernard is sending out.
You're coming to the opening night?
Well, of course, and I'll wear the feather too.
Yes, well, in case you have nothing else. And this time I've written it about everybody we know, and I have an excerpt from it for you today.
Lovely. OK.
With Joe at the piano.
With Joe at the piano, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bernard King.
And I'll take you, Joe. Quite for no reason I'm here for the season and feeling as high as a kite. I'm swanning around with my ear to the ground and the who's who kept clearly in sight. Oh, the season's such fun with luncheons at 1 and cocktails at 5 on the dot. And the topic, of course, is the latest divorces. Who's done it to whom and with what? I'm staying in shape with a grip on the grape and aerobics are keeping me hearty. We're all madly gay. And needless to say, I've been to a marvellous party with Sonia and Glenn Marie. It was staged open air, and we went as we were, and we stayed as we were. It was free. I've been to a marvellous party. Reputations were wrecked by the score. Some came to flirt, and some dished the dirt, and some found the whole thing a bore. The singles made dates, and the marrieds swapped mates, and I couldn't have enjoyed it more. John Howard looked far from contented, defending his back at the wall. Andrew oozed smug and commented, even the mighty must fall. As the leaders lost votes, the press scribbled quotes, contributing nothing at all. The women looked tense, slightly on the defence, as Andrew expounded on duty. They divided the crowd, the air like a shroud, and John mumbled, "Et tu, you brutie." Darren Hinch bitched about status, how tough it can be at the top. He quoted himself, on himself, as himself, and let only Darren's name drop. Jeannie wore shreds of a glad bag, with feathers and sequins and fluff. Bert wasn't there, so Mike Walsh wore the hair. And Stuart wore Janadell's muff. Young Bernard King looked enchanting. So subtle in something quite pink. He'd polished the dome till it sparkled like chrome, but sober, well, just on the brink. He'd polished off most of the vodka and all of the Francois champagne. He'd sipped every notch down a bottle of scotch and poured several gins down his drain. But steady and spouting out volumes he swayed, a piano supporting his back. When asked what he'd like, the room he surveyed, and he muttered, "I'd like something black." The studio crew looked demented. They decided to show up in drag. Well, the sight of these guys, all dressed up as chicks, as they posed arm in arm for a couple of pics, with bows in their hair and bells on their... Oh, pardon me, while I remember. The ding-dongs rang out, I recall. They dangled a bell on each member, and I know every bell had a ball. The visiting stars fairly sparkled. The night fun free and furore. We all ended up in a game on the floor where Paddy scored 1, Lily and Frank scored 4. Then Bert flashed his and topped the score. And I couldn't have enjoyed it more.
Lovely Bernard. Bernard King, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to have him on the show.